There is a moment when everything stops. No thought, no emotion, no inner noise, just space. A pause between the air that leaves and the air that has yet to enter. It is in this silent, almost imperceptible instant that transformation happens. You breathe every day, all the time. But you never realize that the true power of breathing is not in the air that enters, nor in the air that leaves, but in the pause between the two. Science is only beginning to understand this now, but the ancient masters knew it thousands of years ago. They called this instant the portal. And maybe you felt it too, in that brief second before sleep, when the body floats and everything seems to stop, or in that moment of unexpected peace amidst the chaos. It is there that time disappears, and something new begins to emerge. But what truly exists in that empty space between two breaths? In this video, you will discover how this pause can be used to reprogram your mind, shift your energy, and awaken a consciousness that was dormant within you. You don't need hours of meditation, you don't need mantras, nor complicated techniques. Everything you need is already happening now, inside your own body. And the key is learning to breathe with intention and to inhabit the emptiness with awareness. It all begins when you stop breathing automatically and start observing. Observing your own breath is like looking into the mirror of the mind. Without saying a word, it reveals exactly how you are on the inside. Notice when you feel anxious, your breathing speeds up. When you're afraid, it becomes short, stuck. When you're calm, it flows smoothly. The way air enters and leaves is the most honest reflection of your internal state. Most people go their whole lives without noticing this. They breathe the way they live, on autopilot. But there is a hidden intelligence in the simple act of inhaling and exhaling. It delivers much more than oxygen. It delivers clues. Clues about what has been repressed, what still hurts, what you avoid feeling. Masters from different spiritual traditions have long said, "Tell me how you breathe, and I will tell you how you live." Neuroscience confirms it. Breathing directly influences the autonomic nervous system, the one that regulates emotions' heartbeat, digestion, sleep, and even your ability to make decisions. Shallow breathing for too long can keep the body in a constant state of alert, activating the same fear circuit as if something is always about to happen. This creates an invisible cycle: dysregulated emotions, a restless mind, a tense body, and a breath that reinforces all of it, day after day. But here's the crucial point. The cycle can also be reversed. When you take control of your breath, you begin to take control of your mental state. Deep, conscious breathing is not only a consequence of calm, it is also the source of it, and more. By changing your breathing pattern, you begin to access states of presence that silence mental chatter. You hear what lies beyond thought. The mind slows down, and the body responds. In this state, the possibility of reprogramming is born, but it doesn't happen in the movement of the air. The real transformation is not in the inhalation, nor in the exhalation. It happens in the space between the two, and it is in this almost imperceptible point that the true journey begins. It is in this interval that time slows down. The mind becomes silent, and something that cannot be explained begins to reveal itself. This new consciousness does not arise by chance. It needs space, intention, and practice. Now that you've understood the power of the pause, it's time to take a step further, turning this silent moment into a real tool for mental reprogram. This is where the ritual of the void comes in. It's a simple, accessible, and deeply effective practice inspired by ancient traditions like pranayama. It has been adapted to work in modern life, even if you've never done any kind of meditation. All you need is a quiet place and a few minutes of your day. Sit comfortably, with your spine upright but without stiffness. If you can, close your eyes. If not, just soften your gaze. Start by simply observing your breath for a few moments, without controlling, without judging. Then begin the cycle. Inhale deeply for 4 seconds. As the air enters, imagine you're absorbing clean energy, light, vitality, and clarity. Feel this flow spreading inside you. Hold your breath for 8 seconds. During this pause, focus on a specific intention. It doesn't have to be complex. It can be something like, I am balance, my mind is at peace, or I release what no longer serves me. Exhale slowly and deeply for 6 seconds. Feel that along with the air, you're releasing weight. Let go of tension, recurring thoughts, and anxiety. Now pause for 4 seconds before starting again. This is the key moment. Do nothing. Just be present in this emptiness. No rush, no expectation. Stay and observe what arises. Repeat this cycle continuously for 10 to 15 minutes. At first, your mind may try to resist. The time may seem too long. But with repetition, you'll notice something subtle. Thoughts begin to slow down. The body enters a different rhythm, and your perception starts to expand. This exercise can be done upon waking to align the mind and body at the very start of the day, or before sleeping as a ritual of mental cleansing. It also works in moments of chaos, when everything around seems unstable, because this technique creates within you a fixed point of calm and clarity. The most important thing is consistency. Don't expect an immediate transcendental experience. True transformation happens in layers, and each breath cycle is a line of code rewritten in your mind. You can use this ritual to deal with fears, break repetitive patterns, improve sleep quality, or simply return to yourself. The brain learns through repetition, and when you offer it a conscious breathing pattern, you're teaching it a new way of feeling, thinking, and reacting. Over time, the space of the pause ceases to be just an interval between two flows of air. It becomes a familiar territory, an internal refuge, a reset point whenever you need it. Breathing with awareness is more than an exercise. It is an act of reconnection, and this simple technique can be the beginning of something much greater than you imagine. What begins as an exercise gradually transforms into perception. Little by little, you realize you are more present, more lucid, as if a fog were dissipating, and something previously invisible begins to shine from within. This is the silent expansion that so many seekers describe, but few can explain. It doesn't shout, it doesn't force, it doesn't impress. It simply takes the place that was once filled with noise. It is when consciousness begins to take the space of thought, not because the thoughts have disappeared, but because they've lost control. Many reports from those who practice deep and slow breathing describe this phenomenon with words like lightness, clarity, unity, silence, and sometimes absence of time, dissolution of the self, and a feeling of connection with everything. You don't need to understand with the mind what the body is already feeling, but it's important to know that this is real. Science calls these states neurophysiological coherence, when the heart, brain, and nervous system enter into resonance, generating an experience of deep balance. Spiritually, it's what is called full presence. The mind ceases to be an incessant narrator and becomes a mirror. It reflects what it is without distortion. You stop interpreting and start simply being. This state isn't permanent at first, but with practice, it becomes easier to access until it begins to manifest spontaneously in the most unexpected moments, in a sudden silence, a pause between tasks, a blank gaze that suddenly becomes full. It's as if reality begins to slow down, and what once went unnoticed now reveals itself with clarity. This is the breath as a gateway, but not to a world outside of you, rather to an inner space where everything is clearer, more truthful, more yours. It's at this point that many say something changed, and I can't explain it. But it doesn't need to be explained. Just keep going, because every time you return to the void between one breath and the next, that space expands, and with it, when you surrender to this process, something deeper begins to happen. It's not just the mind that slows down, it's the identity that dissolves. What you used to call me, your thoughts, your memories, your emotions, starts to feel like just an echo, an old pattern that no longer defines who you are. At this point, breathing stops being a practice and becomes a revelation. You're not just calmer, you are different, more present, more whole, more real. Because what you are does not think, what you are simply is. And this silent, stable, and conscious being does not live on the surface of the mind. It lives at that exact point where everything becomes still, in the interval between thoughts, in the pause between cycles. And the more you enter this state, the more you realize you are not your judgments, You are not your desires. You are not the stories your mind repeats every day. You are the one who observes, the one who remains, the one who never changes even when everything else does. That's why masters from so many traditions point to the same place. The moment when the breath naturally stops and everything ceases is the moment when the ego loses control and consciousness awakens. There are no words that can precisely capture this state, but those who experience it know. It's like returning to the point of origin. As if, for the first time, you stopped being the character and became the space where the entire story unfolds. In this absolute silence, there is no seeking, there is no effort, there is only presence. And paradoxically, it is in this emptiness that you feel more alive than ever. Some discoveries don't come with a bang. They arrive as a whisper, silent, but so true that they transform everything. Today, you didn't just hear about breathing. You went through layers and came into contact with a point inside yourself that has always been there, waiting to be noticed. And now you know, the pause between one breath and another is not absence. It is power. It is creation. It is rebirth. From today on, every time you stop for a brief moment between inhaling and exhaling, it won't be just a biological gesture. It will be a conscious choice, a silent declaration that you are taking control of your inner state. You can use that space to release a thought that no longer serves you, to cultivate an intention, to remember who you are in the midst of chaos. And don't underestimate the power of that. It is in this small interval, repeated day after day, that the greatest patterns are broken. It is there that anxiety loses strength, that the mind reorganizes itself, and that life, little by little, begins to enter into coherence. As Eckhart Tolle said, true freedom is the space between two thoughts. This pause is the place where you stop surviving and start living with presence. There is no tool more simple, more accessible, and more transformative than this. You just need to remember. Remember to pause. Remember to breathe. Remember to be. Because sometimes, all the universe is waiting for from you is that, in the midst of the noise, you choose silence. If this message touched you in some way, take a deep breath and share this experience with the world. Leave your like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. That way, you'll keep receiving content that expands the mind and soothes the heart. Write in the comments what you felt during this video. Your experience may inspire others to awaken too. And if you want to continue this journey of transformation, click the video that's appearing on your screen now. It was chosen to take you even deeper because the pause between two breaths may hold the key to a new life.